Ladies, young ladies and gentlemen, good morning or good evening to all of you. In international news, detailed information about what happened on the 1st of June 2025 in Russia is gradually coming in, little by little. Yes, this operation, during which they caused two bridges to collapse at the same time and derailed two trains simultaneously, this operation was carefully and thoroughly prepared. Russia did not see this coming. We are still asking the question, what was the Russian intelligence service able to do? We need to ask ourselves the right question. We know that Russia is strong. Yes, it is very strong. A single country against how many countries? Russia is doing its best, but many questions still remain nonetheless. So, according to the information, the operation that took place today on the 1st of June was named Operation Spiderweb. The United States of America denies that they were informed in advance. According to them, they were not informed. They were not fully informed. But it must be truly said that they really pulled it off successfully. So, we learned that in this significant operation, at the very heart of this complex operation, what exactly happened? 41 planes were targeted. 41 strategic aircraft were targeted. These are planes known as missile carriers. They are bombers. According to the information, they have been preparing for more than a year. They trained artificial intelligences, drones equipped with artificial intelligence to recognize real bombers. Because you know that Russia also has modern military equipment for deception. There are plastic bombers used to deceive. But they were trained to recognize real bombers in order to destroy them. So, according to sources from the Ukrainian intelligence service, they spent exactly a year and a half preparing for what happened today. Well, I said today because I'm recording this video conference on the 1st of June 2025. You will watch the video conference on the 2nd of June 2025. So, according to reliable sources within the Ukrainian Security Service, the SBU, the extensive spiderweb operation that ultimately led to successful strikes against no fewer than 41 significant Russian strategic aircraft, had been meticulously and carefully in preparation for a considerable period of more than a year and a half. President Zelensky personally oversaw the operation, which was carried out by the head of the SBU and his team. So already Russia acknowledges, or at least Ukraine acknowledges. Here, this is the platform for awakening consciences, right? We are here to awaken consciences. Here, we speak the truth. That's it. So, as you saw today, Russia has arrested certain individuals. Russia had rather spoken of an attack, even if it's linked to Ukraine or NATO, but Russia called it an attack. So, in some places, it was as if they wanted to pin it on a lone terrorist who maybe had nothing to do with NATO. Now, Ukraine has just admitted it. And Ukraine says it was the intelligence service, the SBU, that planned it, and that Zelensky himself supervised it. So, at the time it was happening, Zelensky was there. Share this video conference. Share it as much as possible. Share it in every group you can. So, the mission was carried out by the head of the SBU, Vasil Maliuk, and his team. At first, these FPV drones were clandestinely smuggled into Russia. They secretly and illicitly brought these drones into Russia. Later, this was then followed by the introduction of mobile wooden structures. First, they brought in drones. Then secretly, they brought in mobile wooden structures. The drones were hidden under the roofs of these makeshift buildings. So they built these structures. The strategy was really strong, They sent wood, they built improvised buildings where there was almost no one inside, if we can put it that way. And that's where the drones were. Do you understand The intelligence with which they operated. After training these drones, the artificial intelligence, they smuggled these drones into Russia. That's the Ukrainian narrative. It's Ukraine itself explaining the achievement. And read this. The drones were hidden under the roofs of these makeshift buildings. These buildings themselves were mounted on transport trucks. The makeshift buildings were mounted on transport trucks. Yes, makeshift buildings mounted on transport trucks. That's why we have a truck driver who was arrested today in Russia, since he too launched the drones. So they themselves were mounted on transport trucks at the chosen moment. At the time of the operation, that's when they were now mounted on transport trucks. So at the chosen moment, the roofs were opened remotely and the drones were launched. So it's on the roofs of these buildings opened, placed on the vehicles, and the drones were launched. And they were strategic. So the individuals involved in the operation entered, have been in Ukraine for a long time. Therefore, if the Putin regime proceeds with targeted arrests, it may just be for show, according to the information currently being provided. So this particular and significant part of the information is currently being reported by various Ukrainian media outlets and news agencies. The most important thing about this part of the information is the strategy they revealed. But can the trucks open by themselves? The trucks were still moving. Those who were arrested, it's not just for show. There are obviously people who are involved, but whatever happens, many Ukrainians were not on site. That we absolutely have to acknowledge and fully understand. The other significant thing we are currently learning and observing is that in total, a substantial 34% of Russian strategic missile carriers located at their main airfields were significantly damaged as a direct result of the meticulously planned and executed Operation Spiderweb. So, Ukrainian security services indicated that the Spiderweb drone operation on the 1st of June caused about $7 billion in damage and put out of service 34% of the cruise missile carriers at the main Russian air bases. Here is the claim made by Ukraine. You know, whenever they make such reports, they inflate the numbers. They'll say, well, it's this, is that. But in reality, it's actually a bit lower. In any case, for the time being, we have not yet observed or received any definitive or conclusive final response from the Russian Federation regarding this matter. As soon as it comes out, we'll share it here again and break it down together. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the top news story. Please share it as much as possible. I'll be back with more news for you shortly, by the grace of the Almighty. This was the voice of your one and only Samouraï,